Welcome to part 2 of our series on 3D versus 2D animation. And this is going to be exciting because we're going to actually jump into Cinema 4D and After Effects and show you some of the fundamental basics of 3D animation. And again, I always say this 2.5 versus 3, they're both essentially 3D, but you want to make a distinction between the two because you're kind of creating the illusion in one, and the others you're actually full force into 3D. So first off, we're going to look at After Effects. We're going to see how 2D animation, 2D elements can create a 3D project. And they're a pretty powerful program, and a lot of people, you won't even realize somebody has done this in 2D animation, 2D, 2.5D animation, and you're going to think it really is 3D. And so we're going to jump in real quick, and we're going to show a logo and some text, and we're going to try to make them 3D with a background and shadows and reflections. And you're going to see how we did that versus, and we're going to come back and we're going to try it with Cinema 4D. And in Cinema 4D, we're going to try a little something different. We're going to show interaction, where a ball's going to hit the ground and bounce. And we can do that with the physics engine, and they call it dynamics in Cinema 4D, but it's going to be a great way to try out and see the difference. So follow along, take a look. You both have the programs at home, so you can kind of see what's going on. And we'll start right now with After Effects. So now let's take a look at 2.5D. So we're in After Effects right here. And what we're going to do is take a look at this kind of project I've kind of built begin here. And what it is, it's one big flat layer. It's a solid, and I've rotated it at 9 degrees. And I added a ball. So we'll look at the active camera. And here's the ball. And if we turn off this 3D, you'll see it's just one flat layer, and I've rotated it 90 degrees. So now the difference is, before we saw that ball in 3D, and you can actually turn around that ball, you'd see all the points and the plane. Well, we're going to add a camera here. And it's a 3D camera, and you see our layers are turned down 3D here. But now, when we rotate, you see, the ball is 2D. It's really not true 3D. Yet there is a Z space, so to speak. So how After Effects usually gets around this and how you can really make it look good is a couple things. One, we can tell this beach ball to look at the camera all the time. And how you do that is you right click and you go to transform, auto orient, and you'll say orient toward the camera at all times. So now when I rotate, that ball is always going to look at the camera. And so that how you can kind of create a cool little 3D. If it's like a globe or something, you'll always look at there. And that's pretty nice. And another way you can also do it is by adding lights. And we'll bring this up. We'll make that we'll say a spotlight. And get that a little higher. And then we'll tell the ball to have kind of a shadow. And then we'll say accept shadows, cast a shadow on. And now when you spin this around, you can see the balls kind of light. We'll lighten that floor up a little bit. How about that? Maybe a little better. We'll go to a lighter floor. There we go. And see, now you can see the shadow. So now it looks 3D, but it really isn't. It's always facing the camera, and that's really a 2.5D kind of effect. And After Effects is really big on that. So again, this is really quick. I just wanted to give you a rough idea of the difference between the two programs. Okay, so you see it's 3D, but it really isn't quite 3D. It's 2.5 they call it. And then again, this is sort of a I'm going to say industry standard call, but it's what more people refer to it as that. But you can see how the reflections are a little harder to get. You do have the lights and the shadows, but you have to sort of work at that and to create that 3D look. But it's pretty powerful, as you can see. You can do a lot of different things. It was starting with the phrase of one of the garbage in, garbage out. So if you get some really cool elements, you can really accent all of them in After Effects using the camera and the animation tools that they provide in After Effects. So it's a great program, and if you know your project's going to be pretty small, or not even that, if you know it's not going to have that intensive animation, After Effects might be the way to go on this. Now we're going to actually try Cinema 4D. I think you're going to really like this. It's a really cool 3D program, and it's come a long way since the early days of Maya or Lightwave, which is I don't think they make anymore. But you're going to see how dynamic engines, primitives, the whole learning curve. It used to be really steep. Now it's not so steep, and they work kind of well with other programs. So Cinema 4D, we're going to jump in, and we're going to show interaction, dynamic interaction, just using the tools that Cinema 4D provides. So let's begin. Okay, this is what we're going to do to talk about 3D. And this is what true 3D is. And so I've created a plane, and then we're going to make a sphere. And then we'll bring that kind of small, and we'll bring that up here. And so now, this is really what you're thinking of 3D. That you can spin around, you see the balls right there, and we can even make say a cube there, same thing. And then there you go. That's 3D. And then you can see behind it, there's depth, we'll hit delete there. And now we're going to show you how interaction, as I was saying earlier, that's an important part of this. So what we'll do is we'll put this ball up a little higher, and we're going to create a, let's say a rigid body, so it'll bounce. And then we'll add a dynamic to here, and here's the collider. Then when we hit play, you'll see it bounces. And that's really what we're talking about in 3D. That's a pretty powerful a tool. Any kind of dynamic engine like that, where you can create 3D interaction. That's really where a really great 3D comes in. We'll play it one more time here. Bounce. And then again, we could also make this a soft kind of. So now when you play it here, you'll see how it becomes kind of squishy, and well, we'll play it all the way through here. There you go. And again, that's really, I guess, the ultimate basic fundamental difference between 3D and 2.5. So there you go. We see that was pretty cool. I mean, the animated, the ball bounce, and it kind of squishes there, or it kind of bounces hard. It's all up to you, and that's really important, I think. To me, the fundamental difference between using After Effects versus Cinema 4D. You can get the same look on both in a lot of different ways, but if you're going to have interaction, I think you might opt for Cinema 4D. Might take a little more time to render, but you're going to actually much more fluid and organic piece of animation versus just something coming in and not seeing the other object and just bouncing off it or going through it. While this with Cinema 4D, you're going to be able to have it bounce or have it something move around and create that more true animation feel. So I hope you enjoyed this. Get to work. If you have any questions, be sure to email me, and I look forward to talking to you again. Thanks.